So who knows? Who among us knows the voice of the Good Shepherd? Who among us discerns the voice of the Good Shepherd? Who of us has had the voice of the Good Shepherd be embedded in our hearts and our minds? Do you know? Who knows? So Jesus says, I am the Good Shepherd, and I want to focus for a moment on that phrase, I am. There are I am statements about Jesus that he speaks throughout the Gospel of John. I am the light of the world. I am the bread of life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the gate. I am the Good Shepherd. What's interesting about this phrase, I am, is that it goes all the way back to the Old Testament. It goes back to the story of the call of Moses. Some of you know the story of the call of Moses. Moses was out in the wilderness. He had murdered an Egyptian, and so he fled. He was in the wilderness, and he saw a bush that was burning but not consumed. And so he walked toward the bush, and when he got close, a voice, it was God, said to Moses, take off your shoes, for you are standing on holy ground. And so Moses takes off his shoes, and God speaks. But first, Moses says to God, who are you? God says, and the translation from Hebrew into English is this, I am. God is I am. And so I am is God in the person of Jesus. We know that there is something of God because I am the Good Shepherd, all the way back to the God of Moses. So who knows? Who among us knows the voice of the Good Shepherd, really? Who among us is able to discern the voice of the Good Shepherd? Who among us is able to know and understand and appropriate the voice of the Good Shepherd? You know, a good question to ask in church sometimes is, who is Jesus? Who is Jesus? What is the character of Jesus? What does Jesus care about? What matters to Jesus? Who does Jesus tend to reach out to? Who is Jesus? Rob Bell, was pastor of a very large congregation, 14,000 members, I think, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was called Mars Hill. Rob Bell grew that congregation because of his creative understanding of the Good Shepherd, who the Good Shepherd was concerned about, what the Good Shepherd was saying, what it meant to know the Good Shepherd. But as Rob Bell's understanding of the Good Shepherd changed, his congregation took exception, and he moved on. He was rejected by evangelical Christians for becoming too progressive. And so Rob Bell has been working on his understanding of who the Good Shepherd is, and he says this. Think about the many who know about Christians only from what they've seen on television. Some of you know that one of my weird habits is to watch TV evangelists. They're strange. And for some reason, they're appealing. So imagine how many who know Christians only from what they've seen on television. That's kind of scary. So Rob says, and so assume that Jesus is anti-science, anti-gay, standing on a sidewalk with his bullhorn, telling people they're going to burn forever. Imagine if that's the image of the Good Shepherd that people have. Jesus on a street corner, holding up his bullhorn, threatening people that they're going to burn forever. Is that the voice of the Good Shepherd? Who knows? Do you know? Is that the voice of the Good Shepherd? Do you understand? Do you discern? Do you have a sense of the voice of the Good Shepherd getting inside of you? Do you know who the Good Shepherd is? Another good question to ask in church, what is God like? What is your understanding of God? A good way for me to think about an answer to this question is to ask another question. What is the character of God? What is the character of God? We say that we want people who have good character. So what's the character of God? What does God care about? Who does God love? What matters most to God? Rob Bell, again, oftentimes when I meet atheists and we talk about the God they don't believe in, notice the small g, we quickly discover that I don't believe in that God either. So maybe people who don't believe in God have heard crazy things about God on television or from other people who claim to know the voice of the Good Shepherd, and so they reject this God. Maybe some of you do too. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows the voice of the Good Shepherd? Who knows what matters to the Good Shepherd? Are you listening? Can you hear the voice of the Good Shepherd? Maybe you're listening. Is that you? Is that you, Good Shepherd? Are you speaking to me? Are you saying something to me? We all long for answers. We are meaning makers. That's how we're made. And we want to have answers to our questions. And so we take the answer exit, and we hope that the Good Shepherd is going to give us answers to some of our questions. This is Kate Bowler. That is Kate's husband, and that is Kate's young, beautiful son. Kate Bowler has stage 4 ovarian cancer. She is a seminary professor. She teaches at Duke Divinity School, and she's written a very powerful book, and in that book she says this: something that people want to say as an answer is not helpful to me at all. And this is it. Everything happens for a reason. How many times have you said that to somebody? Maybe because of your own discomfort. Everything happens for a reason? Kate Bowler says that's not especially helpful. And I think people who are in crisis are not helped at all. Well, everything happens for a reason, but we want an answer. I was talking to my best buddy week before this and talking about a bunch of stuff going on in our lives, and he said something that was both funny and wise at the same time. He said, well, Brad, I went to my easy answer box and it was empty. You get it? I went to my easy answer box and it was empty. I don't have an answer for you. I'm not going to say that everything happens for a reason, but I'm with you, I love you, and I think that's the voice of the Good Shepherd. Who knows? Do you know the voice of the Good Shepherd? Do you hear? Do you understand? Is it deep within your bones and your heart? Who knows? Do you? What is the voice of the Good Shepherd? Here we have a sheep pen. You've heard maybe a lot of sermons about the Good Shepherd from the Gospel of John. I looked at this and I thought, not again. I'm going to go to the book of Acts, which was another reading I could have chosen, but then I thought, no, this is too good. People say, well, sheep, they're kind of stupid, but cattle ranchers are the ones who say that. Well, sheep, they stink and they're hard to lead. Well, let me tell you something about the Middle East that is actually true. You can find a group of Bedouin shepherds throughout the wilderness, and they bring their sheep into the sheep pen together. And they're there at night, and they're protected by those good shepherds. And in the morning, these sheep can be all mixed up, and each Bedouin shepherd has a particular voice or clicks a finger or whistles, and those sheep separate themselves out and they follow the voice that they know. Not very smart, smelly, tough to lead. Maybe that sheep pen is a bunch of Lutherans. I don't know. Maybe not. Jesus says this: you need to know that I have other sheep in addition to those in this pen. Outside this pen, outside this congregation, this town, this state, this nation, I have other sheep. I need to gather and bring them in too. They'll also recognize my voice outside this pen. And then there will be one flock, one shepherd. But Jesus, they're not like us. They don't fit whatever image we have of us. And so you say that there are others outside the sheep pen, but what if they're not like us? This is Brian McLaren. Brian McLaren, pastor in a congregation for a lot of years. He's been rejected. You're going to see a theme here. He's been rejected by evangelical Christians because his view of who the Good Shepherd is has broadened, and he has become more progressive and somewhat controversial, and yet he's trying to spin out his understanding of who the Good Shepherd is. He wrote a book. Why did Jesus, Moses, the Buddha, and Muhammad cross the road? That's a long title. A lot of his books have long titles. Why did they cross the road, and what did they do on the way? Did they try to trip each other up so someone could get an advantage? Why did they cross the road? Why were they together? And why weren't they fighting? And why did they go together? I have other sheep. They're not a part of this sheep pen. They're going to hear me. Way and the truth in the life of Jesus is perhaps broader than we typically think. Who knows? Do you know the voice of Jesus? Do you know the voice of the Good Shepherd? Are you hearing it? Are you making it a part of your own? The sign says God hates people who put pineapple on pizza. It's true. Can I get an amen to Rick? That's great. Right on time. You would have thought we rehearsed that, Rick. That is awesome. How many of you have ever had a Hawaiian pizza? Oh, God hates you. Actually not. There's a finer theological point on this hate statement. If you have a Hawaiian pizza, it has pineapple and typically, what, Canadian bacon? So you're okay. God only hates you some of the time. Pineapple? Who does God hate? Who are the people that we think God might hate? And probably, if we're honest, there are some seeds of that in all of us. Another person, Anne Lamott, there is a theme here, rejected by evangelicals, wandering out, trying to get a different understanding of who the Good Shepherd is, what the voice of the Good Shepherd is saying, trying to understand it and hear it and make it her own. And she has something very important to say to us about the voice of the Good Shepherd. You can safely assume you've created God in your own image when it turns out that God hates all the same people you do. Think about that. The image of God, when God hates all the same people you do. I'll tell you what, if God's image is made in the image of all the people I hate, or in my image because of that, let's hope that God is able to overcome that in us. God hates all the same people you do. Who knows? What's the voice of the Good Shepherd? What are you hearing from the Good Shepherd? What do you think is the heart of this Good Shepherd who says, I've got other sheep outside this pen. I'm going to bring them in. They're going to hear me, and there will be one flock, one shepherd. Who knows? So Jesus says, I'm the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. What we know about the Good Shepherd is that because of the Good Shepherd, we are led beside still waters. Good Shepherd prepares a table for us, the presence of our enemies, and our cup overflows. We know that goodness and mercy are ours because of the Good Shepherd whose embrace is wide, wonderful, and beyond anything we can imagine. Surely, Good Shepherd is with us. Surely we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Who knows? We know. Jesus knows. Jesus loves you, and you can trust it. Jesus cares for you and embraces you. All of the questions, all of the ups and downs, you can trust the voice of the Good Shepherd, and that is trustworthy always for you and for us. I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep because we are loved that much.